All right, welcome to another episode of the Man or Nine podcast. I am joined today by my friend Chuck James. You have a very tough sounding name, I feel like Chuck James. Like you'd
You
have a
think
bunch of
that?
Harleys,
I would. Well, that's fair.
or
but,
like Jesse James. Like
Jesse
you're
James?
right there with it.
My mom wanted to name me Jesse. My dad said no.
Oh damn.
Yeah, he was like, "No, we're not," because like she wanted to name me Jesse, my sister Francesca, so Jesse and Frank. She'd be like, "It'd be like a little James gang," and my dad's like, "Absolutely not. We're not."
Oh
doing it."
really?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. So
Wow.
could have had a cooler name.
Nah, you have a.
No,
Really,
I think it's cool enough.
Oh, Chuck works.
I
but
think it's really
Charles.
cool.
Charles sounds more
Charles
proper.
in charge.
Yeah, that's.
Chuck, where you want to tell everybody where you're from?
I am from Roseville, California.
So it's
over by
like Sacramento area,
Yeah,
right?
Sacramento area. It's probably easier just to say Sacramento
Mm-hmm.
because it's like this place. Everything blends into another town.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I work at Roseville Tattoo Co. in Roseville, California.
How long you been tattooing for?
I have been in it for a long time, but professionally, where it's my only gig, been 12 years this September.
What did you work while you were tattooing or something, or apprenticing, or?
Yeah, because I had a shit apprenticeship, just like
Okay.
most people, right? Like I got in where I could get in,
Mhm.
and life wasn't really going great. I was in college, I was working, and
What were you going to school for?
business, just because
That's good.
it was good. I wanted to go in for architecture, but after taking a drafting class, I realized that I didn't like the boringness of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I decided to just go to get my business because I wanted to work on my own. I didn't want to be miserable like my parents were working for other people. So I was going to college for that. Bunch of things happened. Life kind of kicked me in the, and I didn't really have anywhere to live. I was like, I had my roommate, or I was renting a room. The dude got arrested. It was a
Whoa.
whole thing. So I ended up kind of like bouncing around on couches for a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad was like, "You need to just come back here, get on your feet." So I moved up to Colfax with my dad. And instead of going into college, my grandmother wanted a tattoo. And she said she'd only get a tattoo if I designed something for her, because I was alone in Colfax working night crew, just no friends, no nothing. And so I was just drawing whenever I could. And my grandma was like, "I want to get a tattoo,
Mhm.
but you need to design it." So
Was tattooing, is that something you wanted to do, or you just fell into it?
yeah, no, I mean, ideally I wanted to, but I never considered myself an artist, right? Art was something that got me through all the teenage angst and like the things. I would lock myself in my room and just draw and
Yeah.
write sad poems.
Yeah.
like,
That's how I know you're an artist. We're all kind of just like weird. We're
Dude,
different than the rest.
I'm so weird. Yeah. So I would do all that, and it was just something that got me through, right? I just liked dark imagery. I was always that kind of kid. And I never considered myself an artist until one time while I was in college and stuff like that. I was out of high school. I was trying to figure out what to do because I wasn't rich enough to go to a university.
Yeah, of
I had
course.
to pay for my own stuff. I had to pay to go into community college. I didn't do enough school sports to
Yeah.
even get a grant or any scholarships or anything. But anyway, hanging out with a friend, showed him some drawings that I was doing. He's like, "Dude, it kind of reminds me of some tattoo stuff."
Okay.
And it kind of planted in my head because I knew I wanted to be tattooed since I was a
Okay.
little kid. Like my dad took me to a tattoo convention one time and I was like hooked. And yeah, so he's like, "Oh, dude, it looks like you draw like tattoo stuff." And I was just like, "Huh, maybe I could." So I was a cashier at an Albertsons in Ukiah, California,
Oh, for how long?
for a while. But then transferred and got into night crew. But I worked for that grocery store for 9.5 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a long time.
So how old were you when you started tattooing?
I got into a shop getting my apprenticeship when I was 20. But it was
Okay.
like, it's hard to count those years. Like I kind of just was there. It was owned by a motorcycle club. They didn't really give a shit about
Oh,
me.
damn.
Like,
That's how it was back then. A lot of the
yeah,
shops
like,
that.
well, the owner, he didn't tattoo, but he owned the shop. And the tattoo artist had no affiliation really, except that he worked there. And he was a badass artist. He drew, he painted, he did all those things. So like being underneath him was awesome.
Yeah.
But I mean, he wasn't like somebody who wanted to, he was like, I really don't know how to teach great. So if you see me doing something different, ask why.
Oh, that's honestly sometimes the best way to teach people.
So I would just stand over him all
Good.
the time, right? And I would just study and ask him like, why are you using this here? What are you doing there? And he got me into oil painting, and he helped me
good.
kind of like, watching Bob Ross videos. But it wasn't a very constructive environment to work.
Right.
And I was still working night crew. They wanted me at the tattoo shop 6 days a week. I was working 5
Yeah.
nights a week. Barely
You're
any
exhausted.
sleep all the time. Yeah, but I did it for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they had no desire of making me an artist. Like they'd take me to tattoo conventions.
I didn't know that.
Oh, it was so they wanted me as a piercer because the piercer basically
Oh.
quit. So I was piercing, but I was tattoo apprenticing. And they'd take me to conventions, and then they'd be like, "Take apprentice off your card," so I could get more tattoos. So I would get
okay.
tattoos, but then I'd give them 70% of everything I made,
Jesus.
Oh.
and then I'm still working my night.
But that's
crew
what
job.
you said that was during your apprenticeship?
That was the apprenticeship.
Yeah, so like I've heard of that, like 70% stuff. Did
Yeah.
you have to clean the shop and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, I cleaned the shop. I had I had to watch his kid. I had because they would go in the back for their safety meetings. So I'd be sitting there
Of
just
course.
watching the kid, and like I'd have to do a lot of different things.
It sounds like it was a very traditionally styled old school
Oh,
apprenticeship.
for sure, because like the dude who owned the shop was like friends with Rick Walters and stuff. So, but I had nothing to compare it to. I had never worked at
Yeah.
a shop before, right? So like they'd be total dicks. Like I remember one time he's like, "You're lower than the dirt on my shoe. Like I own him.
Yeah.
He owns you. You're nothing."
Well, that's
Like,
heavy.
and it just all the time, right? And, like it was just stupid. I'd have to do things and draw things for the events he would put on, and he had me tattooing out of a trailer one time at one of their bike meet things.
Whoa.
Like it wasn't a great thing. Like I was just trying to get by. Like they didn't see potential in me.
Mm-hmm.
They just thought I would get the runoff from the guy who worked there.
They were just using you as like manual labor or like a hand.
Yeah, because it was years, dude. I was there for almost 4 years, I think.
See, dude, and I'm glad you're saying this because I think you'll agree with me on this. And it's a subject that I've touched on before. Anytime I talk to a tattooer, apprenticeships nowadays, these younger generation, they want it to be 6 months, 3 months.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
bro, like back in the day, I mean, how long did you go before you even touched a tattoo machine?
It was almost a year.
See,
Yeah,
and that's
6 months.
that's short.
Yeah.
Because the guy that tattooed my neck, my buddy Chris Charlin, like he would tell me, bro, 2-3 years before you even touch a machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's changed now because it's 2024, bro.
Well, it was the machine tattooing grapefruits too.
Okay.
Like I wasn't tattooing
really?
skin.
Nothing.
No, I wasn't touching anything. I picked up a machine and he would have me tattooing grapefruits and stuff like that. So I
Okay.
had to buy a bag of grapefruits. And like it was I like this aspect of it because they were kind of jerks. But I'd be tattooing and they'd come up and kick the table.
Yeah,
I'd
good.
be like, he jumped. I'm like, all right.
And I say that's good because that's preparing you.
Oh yeah.
Because clients will move.
Oh, 100%.
Or they slip. Or like
Yeah.
the worst thing I think what clients do is they'll reach for their cell phones.
All the time.
Bro, I have had some close calls because they don't just go, no, they whoop and they move.
Yeah, they want to jump off the chair. I'm like, I've got something in your arm, bro. Like, remember how you wanted your grandma to look nice?
Now she got a mustache.
Yeah, you got that.
She got one
Right?
Salvador Dali
Yeah.
mustache.
I can turn into a skull. Don't worry.
Yeah, straight up. Zombify grandma.
Yeah, you did this. Yeah, no, for sure. It's like I would just tattoo grapefruits, and it wasn't until there was a guy that was getting tattooed by my mentor, and he looked over at me. I was probably even 6 months of me tattooing grapefruits because nothing was good enough at the shop, right? So I was drawing, and anyway. So I was working on a grapefruit, and dude was getting tattooed, and he was like, "You put that to skin yet?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm kind of waiting till they give me the
Need to
go
go,
ahead."
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the artist I was working under was like, "I don't care. Ask the owner." So I was like,
That's when you knew.
And I asked the owner, and I was like, "Hey, can I do this?" He's all, "I don't know. What does he say?" I was like,
He
told me to ask you.
Mom and dad.
and he's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
exactly.
that happened so many times." But yeah, so I was like, okay. So I was like, he said, like, ask you. He's like, all right, use my setup. And he had a lightning bolt on his hand, and he wanted me to cover it with a music note.
Oh.
So I had to, he's all, just Sharpie it on. So like my first tattoo I ever did was a freehand cover up.
Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome, dude.
I mean, it was obviously a super small, whatever.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Freehand cover up was my first tattoo I ever did.
But that's tough though. Like
Yeah.
I think there's people even now that couldn't even fathom doing that.
Right.
And you did that as your first thing.
Yeah. It was funny. Years later, I was actually with my wife. I don't even think we were quite married yet. We went to the monster truck show, and I'm sitting on this row, and like this Arco Arena was still up, and I look over and I see the dude I did my first tattoo on,
Oh, wow.
and I was like, I tattooed that guy. Oh my god, that's crazy. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I gotta go tell him. And I sit down next to him, and he kind of looks at me like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
You know, because he's like a hang around biker, kind of
Yeah.
old school Mexican dude. And I was like, he's all, "Can I help you?" I was like, "I did that tattoo on your hand." And he's like, "Oh, holy
man.
crap, man, how are you?" Like,
So he didn't even recognize you.
no, like, yeah,
okay.
because I mean, I had hair then
Sure,
when I first tattooed him, and like, he's like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "Tattooing, man. Like, that's what I'm doing." He's like, "It worked out for you?" Like, no one had failed. Like, yeah, pretty well,
Yeah.
actually. Like, I do pretty good now. He's like, "That's so cool, man." Like, it was so rad just to see him years later and stuff.
I think that like the old school cats like that, they don't, tattooing was just a means to get by sometimes. And then there's only a certain amount of tattooers who actually take it to the next level.
For sure. But I was also like, I knew that I had a long ways to go.
Yeah.
And I was never in an environment until later on in years in different shops that people pushed me in the direction and allowed me to go the direction in how I wanted to learn and how I wanted to do things.
Yeah.
And I learned exponentially when I wasn't so much tired and I wasn't working 2 jobs, like when I could actually focus and like go and make my brain work the way I knew it needed to. It worked way differently.
Yeah.
And so back then, like when people saw my stuff, it was just like, he's going to have a hard time, you know?
Of course.
And I saw people later on, there's like, you couldn't draw your way out of a paper bag. So it's cool you're doing this now. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
The guy who did my first tattoo ever said that to me. So you couldn't tattoo your way out of a paper bag, but you do okay now.
But I think when you're starting out, man, I think a lot of it is filled with doubt from the people
100%.
around you.
Yeah.
They don't know if you're going to make it. They don't think you're going to make it. And sometimes it's a push
Yeah.
to prove.
I think like getting backhanded things like that, you have to have that drive, man. I think that's lacking. I think if everybody's telling you you're great, you're never going to be challenged to be more.
Nope.
You're just going to be like, I'm good enough. You know, like those people who are like, my mom says I do good. And they're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else like, But whenever everybody like gave me reasons to doubt myself or anything like that, and like all the times I wanted to quit, I couldn't. It was something that I was latched into that I loved so much that I couldn't let this go. I loved it so much.
But I feel like that's what I'm talking about. You being like, I'll say it like this, one of the chosen ones as far as you were meant to do tattoos.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get into this thinking it's going to be all peaches and cream.
No.
It ain't. It's hard. Even when you're in it for so long, you can hit rough roads, man.
We're seeing that now.
Big time.
You know, like I see people that are amazing tattoo artists.
Slow.
Slow.
Blows my mind.
It's crazy to me. I'm very fortunate at this point in time that I've been able to stay consistent.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that. I've definitely tried not to price myself out of a job.
Sure.
I've tried to be reasonable. I want people to have a good time when they're
Yeah.
in a chair. So I think it's the ambiance, the experience that I really try to bring on top of the art. But I mean, sometimes it's the luck of the draw too. Maybe I'm just lucky enough that I've done things the way they have been or something. But it's crazy to see the people who are slow right now because they're good. They're amazing.
And I think that it's not like people who are slow right now, it's not just that they're not giving it. Maybe they do give a great experience.
Yeah.
But maybe they are, like you said, you're outpricing yourself. Or maybe you're just not providing, like I said, that experience where they're like, I want to go back.
Yeah.
When people come to this shop, as soon as you walk in, I want you to feel like you're in a whole different place.
100%.
And I want you from that moment where you walk into the shop to have an experience to the whole thing, all the way to like watching TV show, listening to music. Or sometimes like when I would tattoo here alone, I wouldn't have anything going, just quiet. And that was nice. Like I remember when we first opened the shop, we didn't have those walls.
Yeah.
We didn't have all these tables. I set up right there, bro. And I tattooed in the middle of the shop.
That's what you were saying the other day.
That was amazing.
Yeah. I like it because I mean, we tattoo long days, right? Like we're not doing little bangers too often, right? And I love the experience and the conversations. Like I start out like kind of light. We get into some crazy jokes.
Sure.
But sometimes by the end of the evening, man, we're having like these life discussions.
Oh yeah, dude.
That like not only help them, but man, they help me kind of deal with my BS too. Like, I don't think my clients realize how much of a therapist they are to even myself, you know?
Like it helps
Yeah.
both of us.
Yeah, like we're here for hours. You're going through pain. I'm focused, but like we're in this together and we
Yeah.
just end up talking. And I really enjoy the experience of that.
I was saying it earlier before we started the podcast, how we tattoo people from all walks of life and
Yeah.
stuff. Dude, I remember I tattooed a therapist and didn't know she was a therapist. She saw something in my eyes. I don't know what she saw. And then she started digging at me without even me knowing.
Yeah.
By the end of that conversation and like towards the end of the tattoo, I damn near was like choking up.
Yeah.
And she was telling me all these things like that were wrong with me, or like, you've been through this, huh? Oh yeah, you're dealing with this. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, but that's that kind of stuff. Like, you never know who you're talking to.
100%.
And I think being honest and being yourself is the best thing for the client,
Yeah.
therapist or not,
Yeah.
and for yourself, because there's no discomfort.
No, and it's just real people talking about real things, right? And like, I like that because you get the people I get to talk to about like the nerdy science stuff, or I get to talk to people about like life experiences, or like maybe they're into something that's so much out of my realm that I'm super curious. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, what got you into that? Like, what's going on with that? Like, I want to know about your life, and it's cool. I like real connections because I like the one-on-one for so long.
Yeah.
Because like the quick little nonchalance, like, weather's pretty warm, huh? Yup.
Yeah.
And like the small talk, it's cool, get by. But I love whenever we get past that. Like whenever you start talking and it's just a real, genuine
You
conversation.
start to get to know that person.
Yeah. And like how, and it's kind of neat that things that I didn't think about that happened in my life has seemed to really help other people, right?
Oh yeah,
Like,
for sure.
and like I get to say like things that were said to me, you know, like I'll quote shit my dad used to say all the time, right?
Yeah.
Because he always had a freaking saying for something, everything. So then I'll tell people that, I'm like, dude, that's really important. I really like that. I needed that. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm stoked. Like, it's cool that it's still living on then.
No, right. And I catch myself like thinking about things that my parents told me growing up. And I think there's always gonna be a part of you that grows into being your parent. Like you become your
weirdly,
parent.
right? Yeah.
Even if you don't get along with them or you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
whatever, it's always
Yeah.
there. But I think the conversation, the experience that you give someone as a tattooer is gonna hold you over. It really is, because
Yeah.
I think social media kind of dictates and runs our people's careers, small businesses,
Right.
either into the ground or however they want.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was talking to Greg about this. Sometimes word of mouth is still king.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Because I don't think I'm not great at a social media game, dude. Like I'm
not either, man. Like, no, I don't know anybody personally
yeah.
that's got a grip on it. And there's people that say they do. No, bro, it's constantly changing.
Yeah, it's constantly the algorithm is changing. It's whatever. It's crazy that I've got more followers, which still not a lot, but I got more than I used to have,
Yeah.
and I'm getting less likes
Dude,
or whatever, right?
I know it.
And it's crazy, but I'm still busy. I'm still getting people.
That's all that
coming in,
matters at the
still
end of the
talking.
day.
And like, I want to get better at it, but I'm also like, you know, things are still working out okay. I want to do good. I don't want to be forgotten, right? It's good to be on there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think that I'm not going to put those genuine things out there on the internet either, right? Like, so here's a tattoo I did. That's all I really want you to see. When
That's
you're in
it.
here, that's a personal experience, and I want you to have that with me.
Yeah.
I don't want a camera in your face. I don't want to be like whatever. I don't want to be a personality. I want to be, I'm your tattoo artist. I'm here for you. How do you want this day to go? Let's make horrible jokes together. Let's talk about life together. But like, I don't want that to be a catch that I throw it out there and use you as a guinea pig.
It sucks because even like when I film my content, I tell my video guy, like, you need to give him some space. Like, sometimes like he's really good at what he does, and he's really like patient with me because sometimes I'm focusing on my work. I'm not trying to be distracted.
Right.
Usually that day I make sure I take care of my client, you know, because I'm doing stuff for the camera.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part about all this like social media stuff is, like I said before, it's almost necessary. Like, you're gonna find at one point it's gonna be necessary, and it sucks, dude. And
it is.
You don't have to do what I do,
No.
but you'll find one way or another at some point. I think that everybody tends to do this, And I personally didn't want to start making content stuff.
Right.
The reason I started making like the videos that I do where I'm talking is I see that a lot of the tattoo industry just seems like it's starting to let people in that don't really know what it takes.
That's fair.
And then they're just like, oh, I'm going to be a famous tattooer tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to spread my experiences on how it really is.
I think that's super cool. I think it's my own insecurities that don't allow me to
Me too, bro.
put myself out to that point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I want you to be like, here's my work. Like, here, I just want you to see a
Same.
cool tattoo I did. But you're right. At some point, it's really important that, because I even, like my client yesterday, she's younger. So she was like, dude, I was talking about a convention I did. She's
Sure.
like, I didn't know anything about that. I'm like, well, why would you? I didn't take pictures. I didn't post it. I was there. It was fun. It was
Yeah.
cool. I was hanging out with my friends. She's like, you need to show people
See?
what you do
It
and what
sucks.
you like out there. And I'm like,
But it's
but
true,
I was
man.
being out with friends. I was hanging out. I was
Yeah.
talking. I didn't
But-
want to be like, hold on, guys.
So the part of the social media where I agree that okay, I get
Yeah.
it. People want to know, it's that feeling of being, oh, you're human. Like
Yeah.
not like that sounds weird. Like this is just a person.
Yeah.
And when they see your face or even just you tattooing, you don't gotta say nothing in the camera. People feel more connected to you when I think that it's almost like they're getting to know you
Right.
through the social media.
Yeah.
I always say like I'm like Batman. I don't want to be in the spotlight.
Right.
I'm not into it.
Yeah.
But I make my content for the reasons that I have.
Yeah.
Do I want to do it all the time? Hell no.
Yeah.
I just want a tattoo, man.
Right.
But I feel like when people see you,
Yeah.
they're like, oh man, this guy seems really cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna go get tattooed by him
Yeah.
or her, whoever. And it's
Right.
like, I think that it's just it's crappy because nobody wants to do it.
Right.
But we're in the age where
It's important.
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because for me, I'm just like, damn, dude, I want to do this now.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm trying to get better right now, like posting reels, posting on my story regularly.
Yeah.
But it's still like, if I'm out at Cars and Coffee, it's pictures of cars. It's really rarely a picture of me.
Yeah.
And I need to get better at like the look at what I do.
dude, don't
Use my face. you
I
know?
hate it.
I know.
so
That's like
hard
that's the
for
hardest
him.
part, right? Because it's even weird hearing my own voice in these.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well,
So
that's-
I
I'm
understand
so,
that.
like-
I understand that like
Yeah.
to a T because that's the hardest.
The only
part
time I
for
take
me.
selfies, like how you're saying, is with them. Like she'll take photos or I'll take them, and that's it.
Yeah.
Bro, I got a bunch of selfies with my dog.
But that's cool, right? But,
That's
but
like-
people love dogs, bro. They
Yeah.
get booked up with dog portraits. Like,
So I was actually at Cars and Coffee recently with my, and I was talking to a guy about his car because I had the same car and I was talking about some stuff. And my wife had walked up with our dog and I pet her for a quick second. I was still talking to the guy and this girl walked up and was like, oh, can I pet your dog? And we're like, nah, she's not really friendly. She's a jerk. And she's like, oh, this is that dog that you were talking about, right? And she's like, yeah, my wife's like, oh, you have a Malinois? Like, you want a Malinois? She's like, no, this dog, I follow your husband.
oh damn.
And I was like, oh shit, people recognize my dog from
See,
pictures.
but that's the thing. Like, the second you put yourself out there, just be
Yeah.
aware of that.
Yeah.
Because there's been occasions where people will recognize me from tattoo conventions.
Yeah.
And it's all good. It's never, I mean, I've had one or two weird interactions, but I try and show an appreciation. And I mean,
Oh, yeah.
for you to hear that had been kind of weird.
Yeah.
And at
my
the same
wife
time,
told me
like,
later,
that's
yeah.
pretty cool. Like,
Yeah, it was super cool. Like, the girl didn't even talk to me. She was talking to my wife because I was out talking to this dude about his
Yeah.
car and stuff.
Yeah.
And my wife's just like, oh yeah, like she's seen our dog. And my wife's like, oh, so you know my dog? Like,
Yeah.
so it was more weird for my wife, but I thought it was kind of neat. Like, it was so cool. Like, but I was like, oh, I don't realize that happens too often.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just,
Like,
it
it's
does.
real
It
like
does.
that. Like,
We've
people want to
had-
see that.
We've had an incident where people had recognized the kids and I was like alone.
That was
somewhere.
weird,
And
bro.
so for me, I was like, because he's been very choosy on like what he shows.
Right.
And before he never showed his face. So most people didn't really know what he looked like.
Yeah.
So when he started doing it, they were like, oh, it's so nice to see you.
Right.
Like he got a lot of those comments.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then like now we travel so much with him that like the kids are included in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was out and now I'm at the point where I don't post
Yeah.
until I've left somewhere
Yeah.
right.
because it just made me feel like a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it'd be weird with like the kids.
They're
and
like,
stuff.
It was
Where's
when she
Ben?
told me
And
what
I'm like-
happened, and it was at the zoo.
Yeah.
Bro, I was not into that. And I know the client, and I'm just like, they didn't mean any harm by it. I know that. But I told her after I heard this, I was like, bro, I don't like posting so much. And even she doesn't do it as much.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. It's a weird time of technology.
It is weird. And I was like, again, I was talking to that client yesterday, and I have friends that have zero social media.
Yeah.
But they don't need it. Their life is completely okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's not a necessity like it is for
us.
Like
Yeah.
And I was like, it's almost like they don't exist. Like I have to go
How
out
crazy is that, dude?
to find out and be like, hey, bro, I hope life's treating you well. And then they'll be like, dude, this happened. I'm like, wow. Like
I didn't
I'm
know.
so used to knowing things because people post their whole life. But I don't let people know my personal life either too often because it's not your business. But I want to just be like, here's my art. But I do need to I want to be better about posting my face up. And
it's like, I don't want to say you need to, but I feel like at some point things come to a head.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're going to have to do something like that.
You know, you're absolutely right. But and you're absolutely right. But I also still want it to be grounded in art. Because
yes.
Because there's some people that I see that are tattoo artists and they're good, but they're a character now.
Yes.
Right? They're a character.
Yes.
And I don't want the trade-off. I want my art to be the lead, and I'm just kind of the face behind it.
One of my buddies has he's really successful in the podcast, this and that, and we had kind of briefly talked about, and we'll talk about it when he comes out, that very fine line of becoming I guess, influencer or a character.
Yeah.
And people losing sight of your tattooing. That's a very scary thing. So my video guy, Brandon, he's the shit. He's an awesome guy. When we first started filming the content stuff, bro, I was like, hey, because he was like, hey, you should post these 3 videos, boom, 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 boom. And then where's my tattooing going? I can't do that.
Yeah.
So there's a rare amount of times where I posted 1 or 2 videos of my content.
Yeah.
But I've made it to where I got to post at least 2 to 3 tattoos before any videos of content, because and what I told him, and I had to tell him several times, because I understand he's trying to push me to make money off content and then to grow as a creator and all this stuff that I don't really care about.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to.
Yeah.
But my tattooing comes first, I told him.
Yeah.
I don't want people to lose sight of me as a tattoo artist and only see me, oh, there's Ben, let's see what he's got to say. I don't want that.
Right.
Having that part of it, sure.
Yeah.
But I want you to say, oh, dude, you see that tattoo Ben did? That's what I want. And that's what I'm going to keep it at. And it's hard sometimes, bro, because the Sharpie video I did, bro, it got damn near like 500,000 views or I don't know what it was.
That's
and
crazy.
I was like, what? And then I'll post a tattoo I'm super proud of, which I'm proud of all my work, but I'll post a tattoo. Nothing.
Yeah.
That is super discouraging.
And I've seen that with other tattoo artists too, right? Because there's tattoo artists that I know your face and I don't know your work.
That's a problem for me. Yeah. That's a problem. I don't want people. So Brandon, what he does a lot of times when I'm talking or whatever, he'll add my work in there.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I don't know if he's doing it intentionally that, or maybe it's how I just said all that stuff, tattoos first.
Right.
Maybe that got ingrained into his soul about me. It was like, don't forget the tattoo work. But you're right. Tattoo work and that focus comes first.
Well, yeah. And like, you know, because I say crazy off the wall stuff and I enjoy like reactions.
Me too, though. Oh, yeah.
And like,
but there you go. Capitalize on that.
But yeah, like I'm also gonna get flagged as soon as I say some crazy stuff. I'll be like,
for sure.
Right? Like people will be like, oh, so why don't you have kids? I'm like, I don't know, man. My wife just loves abortions, dude. I was like, but we have a stamp card, so the 10th one's free.
But
see,
but as crazy as that is,
people are gonna be like,
there's people. Yeah, you're gonna get You're gonna get offensive. You know, you're gonna get offended. But at the end of the day, you're joking about
100%.
No matter what you do, bro.
Right.
And I've learned the hard way from these videos.
Yeah.
Even though I'm trying to spread a good message, or if you're telling a joke.
Yeah.
Me, I would laugh at that.
Right.
It's not funny. Chill out. But I get it though, because I know you're joking and I know you as a person, you're not like that.
Yeah.
But bro, I'm trying to spread a message, and the negativity that I get on these comments, it is like mind blowing.
It is crazy. I've been fortunate enough because I think my reach is smaller that it's I
but if you posted that,
I should do that, right? Like just and then I'll be at a convention tattoo and someone's gonna be like, hey, tell me a dead baby joke.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm working. Like this girl's getting a memorial about her kid that died. So I'm like,
that's heavy.
you know.
And we've heard stories like that. Like it's heavy, but I mean that's why comedy's dying too. Like you got to be careful what you say. And then so like you, if you were to crack a joke, like everybody, if they know you, they know you're not like that. But people that don't know you, no matter what I'm trying to say is, you're never gonna please everybody.
Touche. That's fair enough. That's a good point.
But that's where you capitalize on it. I'm not saying that joke, but that's where you capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And that's who you are as like a funny person. Like, I think people look at me and they're like, oh, this guy's an asshole, or I'm super like dense, like not there. I'm not kind. I'm a very kind person.
Oh, 100%. You've always been super
And
nice.
I joke just like you.
Yeah.
I get down like that. Like I'll say some stuff.
For sure.
And then Kim is I always say she's my compass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm going too far, she's like, hey.
I'm like, you need to reel it in.
Because I'm going crazy. But I'm just messing around. I mean no harm.
100%.
And I know you don't mean any harm.
No.
But that's also the era that you grew up in. Like you used to joke like that with your friends, whereas now it's like.
But you can't tell me, even though now.
It's so different. Like you have to watch how you say everything almost, because somebody's going to be.
But you make it PG too. Like I can tell, like you're very careful.
Yeah.
You got to know your audience.
You have to be.
You have to know your audience and like who I'm there with. Like I always tell people, like, if it's your first time getting tattooed by me, like it's pretty chill. It could get worse.
I heard you say something like that today.
We could get a little crazy.
So I heard you say something like that either today or yesterday. And then I was like, I want to hear what he's talking about.
Luckily, the two clients I tattooed, I've been tattooed by me before.
Yeah, you've been. Yeah, that's right.
Like,
that's right.
They know me. They know the BS and stuff like that. Like, so most of them will talk shit back to me, and
it's all in fun, dude. It's not to.
100%. Yeah, like I tell my wife's always like telling me, she's like, I'm the funny one. I'm like, I don't know.
People laugh. That's what she does.
People laugh. She's like, people are scared of you, and
that's what she does, bro.
Conversation.
That's exactly what she says to me.
Yeah, they're like, you have a needle in their skin. They're scared not to.
That's what, dude. Kim says that to me. She's like, they're just scared of you. I'm like, no, I'm
been
funny.
Saying that since we were in our early 20s. Like I literally.
We were hanging out with her friends at a bonfire at the beach before we had kids and all that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then all of her friends are there, and she probably tried to tell a joke. Nobody laughed.
Yeah.
Not true. They laughed.
Okay, whatever.
He followed.
And then I cracked some joke. I don't know what I said, but they all laughed.
Yeah.
But she made it seem to me like it was more of a nervous laugh, like, oh, we gotta laugh at this. This guy's, whatever. But
what fun is it if you can't like make your partner feel a little uncomfortable?
Oh yeah, no, it's what she does. She loves doing that shit to me all the time.
Yeah, it's all
like, oh no,
it's all part of their relationship.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, she cracks me up, and that's the way she was forever. Yeah.
But I want to talk about your style, man. Like, your style of tattooing reminds me of just like, there's a bunch of tattooers I can really like narrow it down to, but take this how you will.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, to me, I see your work, and man, I've seen you grow a fucking ton from the moment when I tattooed you. You were good back then too.
Yeah, thank you.
But definitely now I've seen your work, like just like on that girl yesterday.
Yeah.
Bro, that shit, you got some really amazing work.
Thank you.
To me, you're like the Carlos Torres and Matt Jordan of horror stuff.
I appreciate that.
Because I'm going to tell you right now.
They're huge influences of mine.
Good, there you go. And I can tell the way you tattoo.
Yeah.
And like for me, Carlos Torres is amazing. Matt Jordan, number one. Number one. And it's no offense to you or any other black and gray artist.
No.
That dude, not only is he phenomenal, he's fast, dude. Like I can't even, his brain's got to be racing the whole time. And I know him, like he's a really sweet guy, man.
Yeah.
And his work, it just blows my mind.
Mine too. Like I saw him on the Gods of Ink, and like he won. So awesome.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's
Gods of Ink. Like,
like,
dude, and amazing pieces. And then like even just seeing how he sets up his artwork, right? Like he makes his own references. Like he takes these photographs and
I
sets those things
that.
up. And I'm like, you're incredible. Like,
but I took inspiration from Matt and Jamie Sheen.
Yeah.
Seeing them use real props, especially Jamie Sheen. Like Jamie, bro, he'll buy a skeleton, put all these flowers together. He's very like floral tattooer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he takes pictures, moves the light, does this and that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then knowing that Matt Jordan does that, that's why I really got into it when I started doing it. Is seeing these tattooers dude, like dude, if you ever go to my house, like, do you think I buy these statues for fun? No, I'll use that as reference and I'll light it up. And then I get the question I get a lot for anime stuff, especially, where do you get the reference for your anime stuff? I make it, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, of course I buy the statue and
right.
I relight it. And even after I relight it and photograph it, I put it in Procreate and I relight it again.
Yeah. Well, even that skull that I did on the hand.
Yeah.
That was a skull I have. I took the pictures of that skull. I like held it up. I changed the light and everything else like that. So
that's why it looked like it didn't look like a Google image.
Yeah.
And I could tell, like, just when you finish, I was like, damn, dude. And it just looks, I guess, organic.
Yeah.
Because you haven't seen, have people tattooed a skull like that a million times.
Yeah.
But when you take the time to photograph and create your own reference, bro, it'll blow everything away.
Yeah.
And that's what Matt, and I know Carlos does that.
Yeah.
And those guys are, I don't do black and gray.
Yeah.
I'm not better than it. I'm not above it.
Yeah.
But I don't do black and gray. Like, I'll show you one. And then, like, when, Brandon edits this and all that, we'll show it on the screen. But I'll show you one. So somebody asked me about black and gray while they were getting tattooed. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't really do black and gray.
Yeah.
And then it was more so like, oh, can you not do black and gray? I can do black and gray.
Oh, no, for sure.
But I don't want to do, it's not.
Your heart's not in it.
This is the way I look at it. Phil Garcia told me this. He's like, you shouldn't think so narrow as far as just wanting to do one style. And I agree with him.
I think so. Yeah.
And I'm not saying I disagree with that, but so, like, let's say you worked here.
Yeah.
And somebody came in for a black and gray skull of some really cool looking stuff.
Yeah.
I won't do it knowing that you enjoy doing that stuff. I give it to you and let's no, give it to him. And then again, I'm not above it.
Right.
But I feel like if I know, like, if somebody comes to me for a rose, I'm gonna say, don't talk to me. Go talk to Phil.
Right.
Because he's like the master at certain things.
Dude.
And he's very diverse. Like, that guy's amazing. But same thing, like, if I know the octopus knee thing you did or whatever, I would say, no, go to talk to Chuck because, like, I could do it, but he's going to enjoy doing it more than I am. And even when you find yourself doing stuff that you might not be like, oh, I'm so stoked, you still got to give it 110.
Always.
You know what I mean?
100%. Like, because I feel like even though, like, I mean, obviously I prefer anything bleeding, dead, and dying.
You go. But see?
I want that. Like, that, it just makes me so happy. But I've done tattoos that are obviously lighthearted.
You have,
I'll do that. I did some sunflowers in color, actually. But I had tattooed her years ago, and she's like, I really want to get tattooed by you. And I was like, of course, I'm not going to turn you away.
Yeah.
But if someone came to me and was like, hey, I want this Disney piece or anything like that, I'm obviously going to send it in the direction wherever I think you're going to get the best work.
Yeah.
And from somebody who's going to be really excited about doing that.
Agreed.
Piece. And like, especially at the shop I work at, there's 8 of us, right?
Okay.
So if you came to me and you're like, I want an anime piece. And I'm like, well, do you want an anime piece or from me, like making it my own? Because I'm going to gnarl it up. I'm going to make it black and gray. I'm going to do something that makes me have fun with it. Or do you want anime? And if they said, oh, I want it to be this one, like, well, these 2 people that I know, kill it. Yeah. Like, they have so much fun with it. Like, Jesse Pruitt, who owns the shop, like, he's been doing a few of them that are just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then Ethan Cheney, he kills it.
Wait a minute. Jesse Pruitt owns a shop that you're at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who he is online.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's who you worked with.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Jesse, great work, man.
Dude, he
like, I know exactly who he's talking. I know who you are.
Yeah. No, dude, he fucking kills
awesome,
it, man.
Dude.
Yeah, it's a cool shop because everybody's awesome.
That's what matters the most.
And like, I enjoy, and like, everyone loves tattooing. Like, everyone's got their little niche, even with so many of us there. And we all just kind of get along. We're all like the most different people.
Yeah. But that's a good thing.
Just chill. Yeah, I love it. No one's stepping on toes.
Like, for me, bro, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but there's like tattoo shops. A lot of them in LA. I don't know. I can only speak on LA because that's what I know. They're anime tattoo shops.
Oh.
And that's all they do. So can you imagine, bro? To anime. Even if we all did black and gray.
Right.
There's no diversity in that. No. And I feel like in time, it's going to get very stepping on toes.
Well, and I feel like I learn more. Like, okay, I can look and research, like you said, like I can reference these badass, amazing black and gray artists, right? But it's so cool to step out of it, right? So like, whenever I'm hanging out with Ethan, who does anime and like traditional style stuff, That's like his go-to. And his anime is even based in traditional. He loves that, just turning him into that kind of thing. We just BS about random ideas, and it influences me in so many different ways, right? And I'll come up with an idea for him to do, and it's so different, and it's cool to look at it from a different perspective, right? He sees things differently than I do.
Yeah.
So I like talking to people who do that rather than just being like everyone's blocking.
I think you get more inspired by being around tattooers who are different than you.
100%, because like everyone has a different approach to doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not walking around and everyone's using the same needle setup as me. I'm like walking around and people are doing different ways, you know, lining it all out or doing whatever. And I'm like, oh,
and you're
that's
just
a
checking
really
it out.
cool way of doing that. Like,
Yeah.
And you learn, bro. And you could take something from what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it could work for you.
Yeah.
You don't know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But do you do that stuff too? Like, is that common for you to take like photos of your own work and like reference it, like that skull?
Not as common as I would like it to be.
You want it to be more.
If it fits, yeah. Because if you come to me and it's something that I can definitely reference, like, oh, I want a human skull. There's a ton of them that I've done that are photos of my replicas or anything like that I have.
Yeah.
Anything skull related, I definitely do that up. It's pretty rare that someone's like, hey, I want a dead rabbit in a jar. So it's really hard to take a photo of that. But I have like any chance I have, because I have plenty of oddities.
Sure.
I definitely want to take my own. Like there was a Reaper I did a long time ago, but I just took a pillowcase and draped it over one of my things. I set it on the end of like an entertainment center that was all black, and I changed the lighting and dimmed it, and I used it in the tattoo, and I was so stoked on how it turned out.
I think it's just it seems like better when you do that, when you create that, because that's your design.
Yeah.
That's in turn like that's kind of like that's your character that you designed for this piece.
Yeah. And so I love when I get the opportunity to. So when she was like, I want a cat skull, I'm like, I got you. And like I went right into my little oddities room, grabbed that, took a bunch of photos, went through, edited a few that I liked, and then finished it up.
Do you think that you'll ever, or do you have any interest in doing like color work? Like, or do you think that maybe because you're very established in the black and gray community in my eyes.
Yeah.
Do you think that if you start doing color, you might get sucked or trapped into that?
I don't know. I definitely have people like it's. I think sometimes where my heart is. Like so. The only reason that terrifies me about it. So well, okay. First off, where my heart is always black and gray.
Yeah.
Because even being in school, even though I was a great student, I was always drawing with my pencil, right?
Yeah.
So I was just mechanical pencil drawing. I didn't have color pencils. I didn't have paints. I didn't do anything like that. I always just black and gray. And that's just kind of how my brain works. I love black and white photos. I like how things age that way. That being said though, when I do a color piece and like after getting tattooed by you and like Heather Miranda and watching all these really badass, because I know so many badass color artists from neo school, like new school to neo trad, to all these different things. And my color theory sucks. So I just try to look at you guys and like some of the things I do and I try to throw it together. I'm always happy at the end, but it's the most stressful process. And I feel like I don't move as fast as I want to. I have to think about everything I do. I'm not as free flowing with it, right? Like with black and gray, I'll be like, oh, I can amp this up here. I can add a little texture here. I can smooth it out over there. And it makes more.
Yeah.
But with like color, I'm like, what color is that? I have to think about that.
You're overthinking the color. What it is.
It stresses me out, man.
Yeah, I just try and like do what I see. Okay, cool, and I'm just gonna mix the color for that.
And I feel like there's people who just get that and do so well with color theory, and like they know exactly. Oh, my warm tones are gonna be here. My cool tones are gonna be here, and this is gonna bring this out here. And I'm like, cool.
Okay.
You're like, it looks amazing. It's so cool, but like I'm just like, that's not where my head goes.
You're like, whatever you say, man.
Yeah. And it turns out amazing, right? So like, cause Jesse does like super cool color stuff at the shop. And like, I watch him do that stuff and I'm like, and he's like, he'll talk about it like that. And he'll do like a simple tone down here. And I'm like, I would have overthought all of that.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so I get stressed. If people ask me to do it, I will do it. And I would love to even have the opportunity. Maybe I'll put it out there whenever I reopen some stuff.
Sure.
Of doing my kind of style stuff in color.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like so darker, creepy. Give me an
very
opportunity.
Muted tones with that rich red, like bloody stuff.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind giving that a shot and see where my head goes. Cause like that's how I oil paint. Like when I sit down with paints, I use these really earth tone colors and kind of the same palette. I would love to try to maybe approach some dark tattoos.
Because that could take you to another level and you just don't know it yet.
You're not wrong.
That'll take you to just blow you up and you can venture off into that. But I think that once you start picking into that color and you do a couple pieces that are like super solid, that's when I think you got to be careful. Like for me, I don't do black and gray.
Right.
I get hit up for it every once in a while. The only reason I do black and gray is for the crow one.
Yeah.
It's because I couldn't like I have that tattooed on me.
Right.
So I couldn't pass the Brandon Lee portrait.
Yeah.
But if it was anything else, I'd be like, no. And then again, I'll refer to someone else.
Yeah.
Or if it's an existing client.
Clients have been getting tattooed for me for a while. I'll do stuff for them that I normally wouldn't. Like, dude.
Yeah. 100%.
The other day, were you here? Was you here?
Yeah. When you
Frank.
did
Yes.
Yeah.
I tattooed East Los Angeles on my buddy Frank on his face. And I'm like terrified because like that's someone's face, bro.
Oh, for sure.
And I was like,
and
okay.
it's not something
but you came into it like
either.
the most confident, like super like, you, this is my shit. I love this stuff. And you were just like on it. And like, it was cool to see you do something like that because I've never seen you do anything like that, right?
No, and I'll never post it.
Oh, no. You said that day. You're like, but it's my homie. I've been getting tattooed. Mm-hmm. But then even seeing his shins that you've done and like all the shit that you've been going on. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's so cool to see you do badass at other things, but I get why you wouldn't.
Because then I just feel like I'm going to get pulled into that.
100%. And it's
if you do a dog portrait and it looks amazing, and it gets a lot of attention, boom, you get emails for months or weeks or whatever.
I got sucked into that for a small period of time. That it was like, oh, I saw you did this, and then like it takes a little while for it to taper down. Maybe I just don't post one, or I'll just put it on my story so it disappears rather than like post it up. Because I'm like, take me back to the skulls, dude.
What is it right now? What's popular for like what you do?
Oh man, I don't want to sound like Viking stuff.
Oh,
really?
Everything Norse.
Do you like that stuff?
I do enjoy it, but I'm hitting it's a lot of repetition, but like everything has to be different.
Yeah.
But it's all the same ideas, right? So I'm like, okay, you want Odin. He has to have his two ravens. He has to have his two wolves. Like they want those. And I think it's great. I love the idea. One person hit me up, then somebody who hadn't even seen their tattoo just was like, hey, I want this. And I'm like, dude, I'm literally doing a sleeve of that too, but all right, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I have to make it my own. And then I've had a couple other pieces, but there's so many wolves in it. Like, I'll be honest, dude, I tattooed 5 wolves in 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
And I did them all different. Like, they were all cool. Like,
but it's still wolf.
It's a wolf, right? And it's like, luckily they were on different types of people that wanted different styles of things.
Sure.
But the pressure to make sure that I'm putting everything in and that they're all different and that I'm not being too repetitive. And
it's like doing tribal.
Yeah. And I really enjoy the, I guess, ideas of it and everything else. Like, and it's cool. Like the stories are really awesome and all the artwork are super cool. But when it's so packed together and you're doing them like boom, 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 it's like I need to space these out a little bit. But I'm really stoked on all the projects. They're really cool. I'm really excited about it. But it's been a lot of
it's like doing Disney stuff, bro. Like I used to like if I don't have a statue of it, I have to pause the movie. Or there's no statue. Sometimes there's not figures for it that are good. I'll pause the movie. I'll do whatever I can, and it's like the character I think that we said I tattoo most is Hades.
Oh yeah,
maybe. And she said Mickey.
I still think Jack
Skellington for
but
sure.
It also has the master doll of that.
I have the replica
for that reason.
Tight. Crazy.
Because he tattoos it
Do you
so
get all the ones where you change the hands and the faces and everything too?
Yeah. He has like 15, 20 faces.
Bro, that's so sick.
It's 18. It's replica to the one they use on set.
Dude, that's so cool that you can do that.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love it. But I agree with you. Like sometimes because people see what we do.
Yeah.
I want that. And it's like that. Well, I want that style. Well, I can't do that again. Like I'll do something different. Well, I really like the way it looks. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I can't.
Yeah. I tell everybody, I'm like, it's going to be different. Like I want to make sure that you walk around with a unique tattoo. It may be able to be like, oh, you got tattooed by Chuck, but it's not the same picture as that person you run into.
No.
And like, so I always have to think about like, okay, I did an Odin with this and like that. And like, all right, I need to change it a little bit more. I need to do this. But sometimes it's really tough to do stuff like that because you have to show a missing eye.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be like, I have to either be more front or like it's got to be a 3/4.
Oh, you, yeah.
You have to know that that's there, or else I just got an old man, and that could be Zeus,
straight
that could
up,
be somebody else. Like it could be Hercules. You have to be really careful about how you put that. But so I'm like, okay, so it limits what I can do with that.
On
character.
what side of the body too,
dude? Okay, so that's funny too. So I asked the guy one time. I was like, what eye is it supposed to be?
Oh no,
because like I need to make sure. And he's like, it's so different. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, so it's like too crazy because I was like, if it's on this part of your arm, I want to do this face. It needs to be facing forward. Like I want to do all that, but a lot of people are pretty chill. Like I think I'll be honest, I don't know if I've always been consistent on which eye is missing.
Yeah.
But it just looks like a good tattoo and it fits the body well.
Yeah, and that's a thing. As long as it's like, well, like when you do a character that's wielding a weapon from a movie or a show, let's say.
Yeah.
If they're right-handed, I got to know that.
Yeah.
If they're left-handed, I got to know that because it does, for me, it ruins it if I do it wrong. Like, or
but
like.
That's like a specific character that's like known. Like in the mythology of Odin, does it specify like if it's left or
the people
right?
I've talked to couldn't really tell me, if I'm being honest. I've asked a couple people and they were like, it says this, it could be this.
That's like saying like, I want a picture of Jesus.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's a white guy with blue eyes.
But like everybody has a different version of Jesus.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
I feel like for that character, you could get away with it more.
Yeah, because
it's Thor
mythology, right?
Nobody knew Odin. Nobody alive knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that if it's like straight up, this is a fact, then that's different. But it's kind of tricky sometimes. Man.
I'm sure they're gonna have someone who comments on here and
I know, right?
How do you not know it's this? And I'm like,
all the time.
I've looked at so many pictures, dude. It's changed. I read as much as I can for every tattoo, but I also have to move on to the next tattoo another day.
Well,
right?
and
so
also, how can you keep track of every single?
Yeah, you do your best. I try to do my research as much, and I give everyone as much due diligence as I possibly can for every tattoo. I'm working on it on my day off.
Yeah.
Compiling all my imagery, getting a loose idea as how it's supposed to go together for like my entire week. And then every night after tattooing a long day, I go home, I refigure it all, make sure it's clean, line it all out, like figure it out, and then get ready to tattoo the next day.
Yeah.
So I give you as much time as I possibly can, but I got to do it every day.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. There's a lot of tension that comes with tattooing.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah. And you're marking somebody forever.
I think that goes like over people's heads sometimes. Yeah. So like I think if you can't afford to get a tattoo, just don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I mean it's forever. That Gucci, that Prada bag, it can get stolen, destroyed, whatever.
100%. I feel like no matter what I do, right, I'm changing your body.
Yeah.
And there could be somebody that like I do that it could be a small tattoo, or anything I do to you. And most of it's sleeves, right?
Yeah.
But like someone's gonna identify you from that. Someone will be like, oh yeah, I knew, like, remember that guy? He has this.
Yep.
I'm giving you an identifiable mark that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. And I want to give you as much due diligence as I possibly can on everything.
Yeah.
And like you said, like, hey dude, it's worth the money. It's worth how much, Yeah.
And I do think there's tattooers who take advantage of people and they charge like crazy. But at the same time, if you know you're worth something, go for it. But it's like playing chess, not checkers.
Right. And I have a hard, like I said earlier, I try not to price myself out of the job. I know I said somebody my rates at a convention and they're like, you can charge more, right? I'm like, I appreciate that. Yeah. I really do. I'm busy. I get to tattoo really cool people and I enjoy the experiences that I get to have. And I'm not hurting at this point, right?
Yeah.
And I still keep things fairly hourly because I know that day rates work for some people. It's just not how I work.
Yeah.
And I do everything I can to make sure it's worth your time and everything else. And knock 10 minutes off here and there, whatever works.
Yeah, sure.
Because I want it to be cool. I want you to be worth it. And I want to put everything into it. Ultimately, I'm just glad I get to do this for a career and it pays my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'm not looking to be a fucking crazy guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, this is my mansion paid for by skin.
Yes.
I'm like, no, dude, I just want to live comfortably and get to do a really cool job. And I get to do so many cool things with cool people like you. Mm-hmm. Like I get to go to tattoo conventions. I get to see parts of the country that I never would have seen prior to this. This is the coolest gig in the world. And if I can pay my bills along the way, great.
Cool.
I obviously don't want to like undercut anybody around me, because if I charge too cheap, well then I'm taking money out of, or business out of other people's mouths, or food out of other people's eyes. And I don't want to do that. So I got to be fair where I'm at, and I just try to stay.
You're being respectful to the ones around you or your peers.
Yeah, because I have to think that too, right?
You have to.
Yeah, because I definitely don't want to be undercutting anybody.
Well, then it's going to take you further when you really consider, okay, if I look up to this guy, I wonder how much he's charging. You find out, okay, well, I'm not there, or you don't feel or whatever, or you do feel like you're there. I would even still keep it under. I've always done the same thing, and it's like I think that's how you stay busy. You know,
I've been very slow at raising my rates, and like I really just, it's okay. My bills are paid. I'm eating okay. I've got a little bit of savings.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay.
But there's people who don't think like that. Like I'm not going to say who, but there's artists who I've heard charge $950 an hour.
There's artists.
That's not a joke. I've seen the emails. This person inquired with an artist, and said that this shop charged them that, or was going to quoting them that.
Yeah,
the most asinine thing I've ever heard, and it's just because this shop has tattooed some celebrities. The celebrity skin is just as good as ours.
100%. Like whatever, you know, we've all tattooed somebody.
That's insane, though.
Like a lot of us have tattooed people who are. That is insane. Like, dude,
are you kidding me?
Who do you think you are?
So we're over here busting our ass on half sleeves, and they're doing a little rose 3 inches tall, and they're making more than us. And I'm just like,
boom.
But I think that artists like that, eventually, at some point, sooner than us, are going to struggle because nobody's going to pay that. Because there's so many tattooers now. That person could find someone else to do a better job.
Right. Well, and like I want to walk around with like. First off, I don't want to do little things like that, right? I like art pieces. I like sleeves. I like flows. Like I love when people walk out with a finished sleeve, and I'm like, dude, that's everything glows together, connects. It looks like it was all done in one day. Like, so those are the pieces I enjoy anyway. But like, I couldn't imagine thinking I'm worth that. I have a hard time even like when I was raised my rates and stuff like that. Like, I had a hard time with that even. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, is that okay? Like I'll send out the email like, hey guys, this is what I'm going to start charging next year or whatever.
It's hard to do that.
I hope you guys understand but I how do I say? I have a cap for my day because I can't be here till midnight.
Same.
But I charge you hourly because but here's as much as you're going to pay for the day.
Yeah.
And it is, but that's 8 hours of tattooing. Like I'll still give you the 8 hours because I want to do a cool piece for you, and most people put in 8 hours of work. I'm putting in more for that 8 hours. I'm working on my day off. I'm working the night before.
Yeah.
And I'm getting set up before you get there. But here's your 8 hours of tattooing. I still think that's still a good chunk of money for me that day. Like I'm grateful for it.
But see, I think that's commendable for sure. But I'm an advocate as far as for tattooers.
Yeah.
Like if you worked here and you told me you do all that, I'd be like, bro, no.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. I think that what you're doing is great.
Yeah.
And I think that people that watch this and just heard what you said need to appreciate the fact that, because I hate it when people come in here and try and nickel and dime people who charge hourly.
Yeah.
You don't know what he just said right now. He works on his days off on your stuff.
Yeah.
That time you just gave away for free, or they're getting that hookup, but they don't even know it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I had a guy come and nickel and dime me, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he said, well, we only tattooed for 4.5, 5 hours. I'm like, okay, so just pay me what you think it's at. And so he counts the money out. Okay, cool. And then he goes, and then I go, now you're going to pay me for the 4 hours I designed your tattoo for. Yeah. It ended up being more than a day rate. And he's old friend of mine.
Yeah.
But I made an example out of him that day. And he was like, wait, no, I'll just give you the day rate. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, like, I just try to give you free time.
Right.
And you didn't take it.
Right.
Because you think that I'm working for you for free.
Yeah.
I'm very, like strict with that. Because that's just how I am. Right. Just like how you are, you charge hourly. I do a day rate.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong.
No.
It's all preference and how much do you want to do for that tattoo.
Yeah.
Because you put in as much as you do, where another, and like I put in a bunch of effort too.
100%.
We just do things different.
Right.
And it's just, I'm a big advocate for making sure that tattooers understand that their worth is beyond, your worth beyond what you're giving yourself credit for. But I understand where you're coming from. Like you're good where you're at. You're busy. You're not struggling, because a lot of tattooers are.
Right.
And that sucks, man. I hate hearing that tattooers are struggling.
Me too.
Because I've been there, man.
Yeah.
I've been there. I was broke, how many years? 6 years?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
6, 7 years, bro. I wasn't making a lot of money.
Like 6 to 8, maybe even.
When I started working at Fallen Angel was whenever I got to quit the store. Right.
Okay, yeah.
So it was like I worked there. I had a probationary period for 30 days, and it wasn't even the full 30 days. And my store was pulling some stuff with me, and basically they were gonna take like $5 an hour away from me because they were gonna put me on a new contract because I wanted only 24 hours a week.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to keep my
Part-time.
medical. Yeah, I wanted to keep medical, and it was important to me. But I can't drive to Grass Valley, which was like an hour away.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just got the job at Fallen Angel, so I had to go to the owner, and I was like, "Hey, man, am I gonna make it? Like, am I gonna get through the 30 days?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna be all right."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, cool." So I went home. I went to work that night and told him I'm done. I was like, "Lay me off, then. I'm good. I don't need your new contract. I don't want that."
No, that's crazy.
But I was renting a room in like Rancho Cordova.
Scary.
Like I had nothing, dude.
Scary,
like
man.
I had even given up my apartment, my furnished apartments, and everything else like that to like keep lowering my bills. But I was still in debt. I was like taking out. I had taken out loans just to pay off debt. Like I had nothing, and then like things happened. Eventually, I met my wife, but even then, I had nothing. I remember like our first Christmas together that week. I made like $200.
Oh, dude.
And it was only because I got tipped $100. Mm-hmm. And then like she's like, "We're going to Vegas," and I'm like, "Oh, all right." Like, I was so broke for so like I had nothing to offer. I'm so grateful that she stuck by it, man.
Yeah, man. Like when we started, Kim took care of us. I didn't know what I was gonna do in my life.
Yeah.
Even when I started tattooing, I wasn't making any money. I couldn't even give it. I started tattooing in 2008.
Yeah.
I couldn't even give a tattoo away. Nobody wanted it because I wasn't anything. I was still new.
Yeah.
It was tough, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's like why it's like when people ask like how long you've been tattooing, I'm like, professionally, it's been 12 years. But I put in so many years and so many things just to get to that point even.
Yeah.
Right? Because like 12 years, that was whenever I started a career. And that's whenever I put everything into it. And like every time I'm just trying to be better. Like before that, it was tattooing. Unfortunately, it was a hobby. I did everything I could, but unfortunately, like, I have an autoimmune condition. I needed to have medical insurance. I didn't have parents who were going to help me with anything. I had to live on my own. I had to work. I had to pay bills.
But you took that next step.
100%.
And that's what, I encourage everyone to do what he's doing and take that next step and do what I did. Take that next step. And
you have to.
If you don't jump, you're never going to go anywhere.
I just had to wait for the right time to jump. Yeah. But like,
right.
Yeah, like that was
responsibly.
Yeah, because I couldn't just do it.
No.
I remember I was about to. I called an insurance company, a medical insurance company, and I was like, "Hey, how can I get insured? I'm about to, leave the store that's providing me this. Like, what can I do?" And it was before the laws changed. And he's like, "You can't."
Whoa.
And I was like, "What do you mean I can't?" He's like, "Well, you have an autoimmune condition. No one will cover you."
How insane is that?
Yeah. I wasn't allowed to leave the store. So like, I was like, are you serious? I was like, listen,
that is so insane.
I have an autoimmune condition. I didn't do anything to deserve this. And he's like, don't leave. Hope the law changes. And luckily, whenever the store tried to screw me over is whenever the law changed.
Oh my God, dude.
About a year later or 6 months later. So I paid for Cobra like at the time, $600 a month. But like I said, I had nothing. Like I was like just scrimping and saving. So it was like $600 a month just to pay my medical insurance so that I could like get my pills and be okay and like not be. And I was still super sick in and out of hospitals and everything else at the time.
Jesus,
it was crazy.
It's just crazy. Like the support for people isn't there. It's
they
don't want you. They don't want you. Well, yeah, it changed a little bit. But before that, though, even now, I feel like sometimes we're kind of set up for failure.
Yeah.
Like we're self-employed. We're doing really well for ourselves. And guess what? Now you got to pay more taxes. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Right. And then pay for your own medical. And so, like, I'm grateful that my wife has the job she has.
Right.
And she brings that to the table. Like, her company's great. And we have medical through her. But that was like one of the biggest things for us being married, even. Like, we love each other dearly, but like, really, marriage wasn't like the biggest thing on our minds.
Sure.
But like, really just getting that for me.
Yeah.
And not having that over my head. Cause then I was like paying through Covered California. And that was still like $6,500 deductible. And then like the medication that my doctor put me on was $30,000 a month.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Nah, man.
Dude, it was like, it's crazy. And like, that's not including like the pills and the other things I had to take. That was one infusion a month.
This is what drives people to do crazy stuff though, bro.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think people are like, how am I supposed to survive? And it's like, you can't.
No.
You can't. I already told you we can't buy a house.
I know.
And I do really well. We do great.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $7,000 a month, bro.
Dude, how can you wrap your head around it? Right? Like
everything goes up, but we stay down here.
Yeah.
And then to go against that, we start moving up in our life and it just goes, oh, no.
Yeah. Like when do you ever get a break on it? Right. Like I've been fortunate enough that we have got houses because it worked out during the certain times.
Yeah.
Interest rates were low.
But you guys are good with that.
Yeah. Like I'm glad it worked the way it did for us. But even then, like, they're like, oh, they raised our tax or whatever. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You know, like our property taxes are going up. I'm like, well, they sure as hell when the economy sucks. Don't be like, hey, we're gonna knock off a few hundred for you or anything like that. Like they don't do that for us. Like they don't help us out. Care, man. They're like, they don't take it back down. They're just like, no, it's here.
At the end of the day, it's a business.
And I'm like, I own this. I am working on this. Like, why am I still anyway?
It sucks, man. But I think as long as we keep moving forward in the motion for tattooing in a good way, I think everything's gonna be fine. And we've made it through bad times.
Yes,
you've been there. I've been there. I think tattooers who've been doing it long enough have been there.
Yeah,
tattooers right now are going through it.
Right.
You just got to keep trucking. And I always tell people, keep moving forward. Like keep moving forward, man.
And we have to, and like just be kind to each other in the industry,
dude.
right?
We need more of that.
You know,
we don't have that right now.
And don't walk around with an ego about anything. My God,
don't even get me started on that, bro.
Because like, well, you see people, right? Like you see, you know, your homie's going through something, whatever. Like, how could you walk around thinking you're better? Because like you're not. This could happen to you just as easy, right?
Yep,
it's like,
absolutely.
So be kind, be whatever you can, and be supportive of our industry, right? Like let's keep moving forward. Let's do art.
There's so much. There's so much like negative bad competition. It's just not good.
I heard somebody the other day on a thing and he was like, you're not busy because you're not keeping up. Like you're like, and he's like tearing people down. I'm like, dude, the people I know have families and work hard and have worked hard for so long that they're not slacking. They're great people. They're also being a dad. They're also providing for their family. And like they have lives to
people like
with,
that,
right?
They don't realize the damage they can do to someone's career by saying you're just not keeping up with the times and the skills and this and that, bro.
No.
You slandering someone's name like that could potentially affect someone. Well, you know what? I'm not going to get tattooed by that person no more because this guy says he sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, man. But for any tattooers who've fallen victim to that, keep pushing. Ignore everyone around you and just keep going, man.
Dude, we need to be there for each other as much as possible.
We need that more. We don't have that in our industry too much. Like my friends, like people that you know, sure. And I just see a lot of negativity on the internet about everything, but to see it in tattooing is just terrible.
Yeah. And like, dude, it's rough out there. And like, don't think it's because they're not working hard. Like no one's sitting around being like, just kicking a can. Like, I wish, you know, I'm not going to put in the work. No, everyone's willing to put in the work. You know, like they're willing to do whatever comes in the door.
And if you're not, they don't last.
No, 100%. But I've seen people who are like, obviously super good and used to doing these crazy tattoos and stuff. And like, hey, dude, I'm going to do this lettering today. You want to do this? Because, hey, man, it's a tattoo and I need to work. And I'm like, that's great. Like,
that's the way it should be.
And you should never, like, 100%. I told somebody the other day, I'm like, I'm really grateful that I get to do what I'm doing, but understand that if things change, I will do whatever infinity symbol walks on the door.
100%.
Like I'm not above.
I've done it. I've been there.
Not above any tattoo. I'm super grateful that I get to be as busy as I am, doing the awesome things I get to do for amazing people. But I'm sure there'll be a time, whenever I'm going to be like, hey, bro, you want a finger tattoo? Come on, let's. But
that's why being diverse and doing different styles is important. Because
you're right.
Let's say, for example, anime. If that ever goes out of style, which I don't see it happening, but if it does, what are you gonna do? If that's all you do, I think about that all the time because I have friends, that do that, like the shop owner where you're at. I get it, it's all good, but you have to be ready for that wind to change because it does.
Well, the shop owner, he does them, but only occasionally. Like he's super diverse. He's probably the most diverse tattoo artist at our shop.
But I'm saying like there's tattooers who only do one thing, and
100%.
That's fine. That's their thing. But when, everything changes, you got to be ready for that.
Right. I think it is good to know to do a bunch of different things, and you're not above anything.
No, nobody is.
Yeah.
There's artists. It's not that necessarily they think they're above. So like, okay, when you started tattooing, you did everything to get your feet wet and get the experience.
100%.
Nowadays, a lot of tattooers are like, I'm just going to do this and that's it. And I'm like, you know why you're slow? Do you know why your progression is so not there? And what's going to happen when you're slow as hell? You can't do letters. You can't do a traditional piece. You can't pull a line. Yeah. You don't know how to properly shade, and you don't know how to transition color or black and gray. Right. You don't know what true value of black and gray is. You don't know what contrasting colors are. Yeah. What's this? What's that? You don't know. It's things that like my apprentice that I had here. Yeah. She didn't make it because she couldn't handle it. Right. I am getting you ready for what is to come. Right. And that's the way it needs to be.
I think fundamentals in tattooing are still super important.
But they're not there. Yeah. They are there. Right. But for a lot of things, they're not.
Well, it's crazy to hear an apprentice say that's not my style.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine? Bro. Could you imagine saying that?
She said it. My apprentice said that to me. And I'm like, shit. That's cute.
What the?
I don't care if it's your style. You're going to do that tattoo. Yeah. And then I don't care. You're going to get your feet. Look at Jerry's looking at me like, damn. That's not the way. No. I don't care. Dirt, dusty old heads, whatever, man. At the end of that's what they call like, really? This generation of younger tattooers, like, dusty old heads. Remember somebody called us that?
Damn.
Bro, I'll tattoo circles around you, man. Yeah. Like whatever you want to do, some anime, boom, let's do it. You want to do traditional? Heads. You don't even know what the hell that looks like.
I think it's easy though to walk into a shop and see like people in it doing what they want to do and think that's what you're going to do from the very beginning. Yeah. But like they had a decade of where they didn't do, like for him, he had almost a decade where he didn't get to decide what he was doing every day. Yeah. Whereas now he's like, no, like I'm more established. Like I'm able to call the shots and feed my art in the direction that I want to, along with what you're still wanting, but in my direction mainly. And so I think that's where the confusion for a lot of people comes into play. Yeah, like, it's a buildup.
It took me so long to work to a point to where people are like, I love your style. I love the way you do things. I was like, this is my idea. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna do it my way. And that's what I want.
Absolutely.
Like, and it took a long time.
And that's the dream, right? You know? For the artist.
Yeah, it took so long.
You know what I'm the most proud of? I am proud. I mean, obviously, I am very proud of what I've accomplished in my work. I am in no way at my peak. I think I've hit peaks. Sure. Yeah. You have too, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But you got to want to keep climbing that next mountain. But what I'm proud of the most and honored is to have the artists like you or Greg as friends. And not only that you're willing to come here and work next to me, even though we don't talk the whole time because we're focused. Yeah. We can joke around. But having people around me that have the same, going in the same direction with tattooing. Yeah. That to me is one of the biggest payoffs for tattooing because it shows me that there's still good. There's a lot of good in our industry. I'm not saying it's all jacked. Right. But I feel like the generation we're in, it's the instant generation, Instagram, right? Dude, right. Everybody wants, how do I get to make this money? How do I get known? How to work? Right. And there's nothing else I can say. Yeah. The one I get, how do I get famous? You know what fame is, bro? Fame is just a word. Bro. Because the second you don't post for a week, nobody cares about you.
Well, and like at the end of the day, like I said, we're just artists.
That's it.
Like, all right, cool. You're not putting out movies. You're not changing a revolution. You're not running a country. You're not a president. You're not these things, right? So I'm grateful that people know me. And people obviously know you, right? So like that's super great. But dude, it's just social media, bro. Yeah. I do really good tattoos. Yeah. Like in your perspective, like I do really good tattoos, but I'm a human being. I'm not the guy who has paparazzis at my door or anything like that. Yeah. That's a crazy idea.
Even if you get to that point,
that's crazy.
Don't ever forget that the artist standing or sitting or working next to you is that you're not any better than that person. We are all equal. We're all equal, bro.
100%. And it's so crazy that people would want that. Like, dude, I'm so grateful I get to pay. I live a better life than I ever thought imaginable because I get to draw pictures.
Dude, I think of that every single morning. I thank God every day, man.
Yeah, because like I didn't grow up with much. Like we
Same,
had crazy lives,
same.
and like I met a lot of people who have the same thing, right? Like I was taught hard work, and I was taught the harder you work, the luckier you get. You know, that's one of my dad's quotes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The harder I work, the luckier I got.
I think that's in some way true.
And like I obviously there's things to it, but like I just know that I can work. I will work. I'll outwork you. I'm grateful. I don't care about super recognition. I just want to do really cool tattoos on awesome people, have a genuine experience, and stay busy, pay my bills.
That's all that matters.
You know, and like I'm so grateful for that. I want to get better every day. I know that like you said, I don't think I've hit my peak.
Good.
I want to constantly struggle. I want to constantly
You got to stay hungry.
Always.
Stay hungry, man.
Yeah, never be satisfied.
No.
And like I have a hard time, like some people have a hard time grasping that mentality of like,
sure,
don't be satisfied. You can't just be, this is good right now.
I hit 100,000. I'm good.
No, and who, like, dude,
you
no,
know what I mean?
That's
like that's not it at
that's
all.
not it, dude. Because like I've even seen those people say they're not busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 100%. I know people. Again, not gonna point out anybody directly, but close to 1 million or maybe 1 million, and they're slow.
Yeah,
and I'm like, bro, how? You got comfortable. And we all do it. I get it, but
like anytime I feel like, man, I'm doing all right, dude, I hit such a weird low.
Yeah.
Like anytime like that is always so short lived for me. Cause like I am my own worst critic, which I think we all mostly are.
Artists are, yeah.
Dude, I tear myself apart.
Oh yeah.
Constantly.
Kim sees me
like
go through that all the time.
Yeah. And you get burnout. You get hit with
Oh
like,
yeah, bro.
You get hit with this like, I'm not good enough. Why am I even here?
All the time.
Like all this. And like I remember, God, this is maybe a year or two ago, like someone asked for something that I should jump for the chance. I loved everything about their idea, and I'm working on it like almost all day, and I'm not happy with it. And I was like having a breakdown to my wife. I was like, "This is supposed to be something I love. Like, what is going on? Like, this is what
sucks,
I can't make anything fire. Like, I'm." She's like, "You're good at what you do. You need to relax. It's gonna be okay." Like, but I was like, I just
that's just. I think as an artist,
climb out of it, keep going.
I think that's as an artist though, bro. I think that's just you getting like you don't even know that it's happening, but you're about to level up. Yeah. You're about to get your techniques that you've done, and you're about to get better.
Yeah.
We just don't know that it's going on.
Yeah.
But as long as you keep your head down, bro, and you focus, that's what's happening. You just don't know it. You know what I mean?
100%. Like, and then you'll get to a point you're like, oh, I'm really stoked on that, and then you're gonna hate everything again.
If you could tell,
it just means
if you could tell your young self, young tattooer, anything right now, what would it be?
Take more chances.
That's good, man.
I would have probably left that apprenticeship earlier and found a place that helped inspire me and wasn't in such a negative environment. The artist who taught me was really cool, but it was not in a good environment. It was around really people who wanted to degrade. Like they weren't great, but they had the facade of greatness, right? They had, we're so known. It was horrible. They treated me like shit. They always treated me like crap. And I'm okay with construction, right?
Yeah.
You can tear me down to build me up more. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But they were just trying to tear me
too
down.
much.
And it wasn't even building me up.
No,
it was just you're nothing, you're garbage, you're this, you're
There's
that.
a level to put in, like keeping you in the mud.
Yeah.
To want it more. And I think there's a testing ground.
Yeah.
But there's also a limit to that. And like, okay, that's enough of that.
I wish I would have taken a little bit more chances. I would have still stuck it out and stuck through hard times. But I wish I would have known that the hardness that I was putting myself through was unnecessary.
Yeah.
That I should have been around.
You just didn't know.
Yeah, I had nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
So younger me as an artist, I would have said definitely like, have a little bit more self-worth than
good.
Take a little bit more chances.
All right, I'm gonna hit you with the question.
So
to end the podcast. We already talked about this. And I like to say it like Kim's list hasn't changed. She doesn't care.
Yeah.
She's like, I have you.
Yeah.
Zombies are at the door right now.
Yeah.
Trying to get in. You have 5 things on you, and you can't say a lightsaber or it has to be real,
right?
And it could be anything.
Feasible things.
What are the 5 things you have on you right now on this table? What do you have on you?
Or maybe not on the table, because it could be something that won't fit on the table.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like here
anything,
with you.
like,
yeah. No, a machete would be up there.
That's a very common one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, because it doesn't run ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would want a leather jacket. Like
so if you
something-
want a gun, oh, that's good.
yeah,
If you want a gun, you get a full magazine. That's all you get. Just
magazine.
one.
But you know how quickly that would go through?
And that's what I'm saying.
And I'm a decent shot.
But I like that though because it makes people sway away from saying a gun.
Yeah. No, I like,
So
like
a
you're not
jacket?
gonna be able to find. Yeah, I want something thick leather, like leather
That's good.
jacket. I would want the machete. I would want gloves.
Damn. Okay.
Rope.
Yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah. All right, so that's 4.
You see, it starts to change.
Yeah.
Because when I'll tell you my list, and it's like, wait a minute.
Because I can make pouches with all that other stuff. I guess I would also need like something other than a machete. I'd need like oh man, that's tough.
See,
I'd say maybe a buck knife too, something small.
that's
because
what
I'm gonna.
Luke said. One of our buddies said the same thing.
I would need a buck knife because like it's something small that I can work tools with because I'm gonna have to make more things. I can make a spear that way. I can chop down a tree. I can tie that machete to a pole and keep thing at a distance.
Leather jacket is good for a lot of things.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's nobody's said that one yet. The machete for sure. You can use that for many things.
Rope is very popular.
The rope is a very popular one. People
And
have
a
been
good
saying
one.
that.
Yeah.
A good one. And then what else did you say?
Gloves.
Gloves.
Like leather gloves, right?
Which is another good one because you
Yeah.
cut yourself up getting infected. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So mine was a katana, and I'm talking about a real one, like the one I got in Japan.
Yeah.
And now I have it. So I got one out of that.
Nice.
Number 2 is a backpack.
Yeah.
So backpack, purification straw to drink water from different sources. Boom. So when we say that one,
I saw a thing for that
See?
too. I saw an advertisement for those the other day.
flint rod to start fires
Smart.
and a pistol.
Yeah. You
The
do
pistol's like emergencies only. And I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like a pistol you can find it, the ammo is going to be more readily available. I could be wrong. I don't know.
So the only reason why I would say it isn't is because you're gonna have a bunch of people firing
Taking
guns,
everything.
and
Yeah.
like they're gonna. So you either need to find an underground bunker where dude was like
Straight
just
up.
doomsday prepping.
Yeah.
But then you got to get to it first because that dude was
See?
doomsday prepping.
That's the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So ammunition's hard to find.
It's got to be emergency only, zombies in your face type of thing. Or I think the bigger threat than the zombie is other people.
I was thinking of so much protection that I didn't even think about
See,
long term.
but that's exactly it though. Because like
Well,
him,
yeah, like mine, I was like, well, I'm going to be with you, so I don't need a gun.
Yeah.
But I would like to switch that out for like a space blanket.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good idea because you can
But-
put that in your wallet, bro.
Having the gloves and the leather jacket.
That's gonna
kinda
keep you
nice,
warm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, the flint would be a good thing. Flint runs out, but flint's a good thing, and having straw for purification water. But there are ways to do that in the
Naturally, you can totally make it.
But it is hard, like depending on where. So you have to head to an area that you know you can get that water from.
And are you knowledgeable in that area too? 'Cause
See,
you
that's
might
the
not
thing,
be.
like, I think that
most
if-
people aren't. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Most people aren't survivalists.
Right.
For me, I'm a very like nervous person when it comes to stuff like that. Like, I'd make my own purification straw and be like, I'm gonna poison myself. I know it.
Right.
That's what I would just tell
Yeah.
myself.
Well, because like you know, you got to think plastic's going to be readily available everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So you have an empty bottle here, empty bottle there. All you need is 2 empty bottles, and you get it like that. You
Or
get
even
some
like
cloth.
the rain condensation
Yeah, you can get
systems.
cloth, and you can run it through one. And
Yeah,
like
the
you know,
sand
fill
and
up one,
rocks.
close it into the other one.
Yeah, right.
So like there are ways to get your pure water.
Yeah,
It's going to be some trial and error,
for
Yeah.
sure.
but the fire, that was
Yep.
a good one.
Yep. Because that's important, man.
It really
But
is.
see, I'm bare where I don't have a jacket and I don't have a space blanket. So I think no matter what your list is, you're gonna be lacking in something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Be able to build something. The nice thing is though, like if I had the machete and the rope, I can make a shelter.
Yeah.
That is true.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go find that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm ready to slice people up, but I'm gonna have to go to like Big Five or something.
Where everyone
add
else
to your
is
list.
gonna be.
Yeah, exactly.
everybody-
So
Yeah, luckily I know enough crazy rednecks, dude. I'm gonna be like trying to find them and hope that
They're
they
ready to
haven't got-
rock.
Yeah, hopefully that there was room for one more in their squad.
I know.
I
it.
know.
I'm like, hey man, I'm a decent enough shot. You tell me where to go, I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
let's,
We're
let's
like,
do this.
is our camping box at home or is it in
That-
storage?
we constantly talk about this.
Yeah,
Constantly talk
We're like, man, we got to be ready. But all right, Chuck,
yeah.
are you good?
I'm good, man. This was fun.
Thank you for joining me, man.
Yeah,
like
dude.
it was great talking to you. thank you for hanging out and tattooing. It was great to see those tattoos you did.
I appreciate
that
it.
knee tattoo you did. It was crazy. And it was great. Minimal swelling with that hand too you did before yesterday.
Yeah.
You're a great tattooer, man. And I can't wait to see where you go in the future. Like I'm very excited for you. Do you want to tell everybody what your Instagram is and all that so they can follow you?
Yeah. People can find me at GetChucked13, and I work at Roseville Tattoo Co. in Roseville, California.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you very much, man. Yeah. I really appreciate you being here. Kim, do you want to exit us with anything?
Nope, that's it.
Just being a little cutie.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks again, guys.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Bye.